What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report. We're going to be giving our NFL Week 7 predictions. First prediction video, better late than never for this NFL season. So we're going to be giving our Week 7 predictions here in this video. So let's get right into it. First game tomorrow, Thursday Night Football, Week 7. You got the Denver Broncos taking on the New Orleans Saints. This game is in New Orleans. And the main storyline, Rory, coming into this game, Broncos head coach Sean Payton returning to where he originally coached in New Orleans, in which he had some great years and great success with his Saints teams. And this matchup, looking at it, this is actually a very intriguing matchup. Saints obviously got off to a very hot start to begin the year. They've kind of fallen off and met reality a little bit since then. And right for the Broncos, it's been a very inconsistent year. Bo Nix has been inconsistent. He's been Mo Picks at times, and he's also at times been a very solid quarterback. So this game, honestly, in my opinion, is a pick 'em just because the Saints are at home, and I also think the Saints are a better team overall than Denver. I am going to pick New Orleans, but I will not be shocked if this is a close game because, in my opinion, again, this is a pick 'em. Both teams are just mediocre in my eyes. But I am going to take the New Orleans Saints winning tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, against the Denver Broncos and not letting Sean Payton get his revenge game. So now going into the Sunday window, first game, final London game, the Jaguars in their second home in London, taking on the New England Patriots, and this is a tank bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Both teams 1-5. Patriots are finally starting Drake May. Drake May did look good in his first NFL start last week against the Houston Texans. And Jacksonville, I mean, let's keep talking about New England still, but New England was supposed to be a team that was going to struggle this year. I mean, their offensive line is just a bunch of revolving doors. Their quarterback for the first 5 weeks of the season was Jacoby Brissett. They don't have any receivers. So New England, this is a rebuilding year. Jacksonville's 1-5, and this is not a rebuilding year. This is a team that wants to win now, and they have not done so. Trevor Lawrence has been disappointing this year. Roy, everyone's disappointing. Doug Peterson's on the hot seat. And this is Jaguars need this one. If the Jaguars lose to the Patriots, they are done. Doug Peterson will be gone. A lot of things will change in Jacksonville if they lose this game to New England. I am going to pick Jacksonville to win this game. But if they lose, their season's done. This is a game Jacksonville needs. I'll keep saying that over and over again. They need to win this game. If they don't, there'll be a lot of changes, and I'm going to pick them to win. Also, their second home is London pretty much, so give me Jacksonville over New England. So now going into the 1 o'clock window on Sunday. By the way, no team – actually, no, that's wrong. That's next week. Anyways, going to the 1 o'clock window, we got a very intriguing NFC North matchup. This might be a game of the week. Minnesota Vikings coming off a bye, undefeated 5-0. Who would have thought with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, the Vikings would be maybe the best team, not just in the NFC, but maybe even in the NFL. Taking on the Detroit Lions. We all know the Lions are good. They're coming off an absolute shellacking of the Dallas Cowboys last week, and the Cowboys are terrible, but still the Lions, what if any team beats another NFL team, 47-9, I think was that score. It was an impressive win. And again, this is a huge game. It's for first place in the NFC North. Lions are 4-1. Vikings are 5-0, like I said. And I do think this is the week the Vikings get their first loss. I think Sam Darnold is going to fall off a bit. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to maintain what he's been doing for an entire season. And I think the Vikings, if you want to call it fall off, you can, begins this week. I have Detroit beating Minnesota in this game and taking over first place in the NFC North, giving the Vikings their first loss of the year as well. So the second game of the 1 o'clock window will be going over. The Miami Dolphins taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Joe Flacco, the check down man, is back in full force, ladies and gentlemen. We remember Flacco from last year with the Browns leading to the playoffs, and he's back with the Colts making another start, I would assume. I mean, they haven't really announced anything about Richardson and Flacco, but I assume it's Flacco. Flacco had a really nice performance last week against the Titans. And for the Dolphins, they are a absolute disaster. What the Dolphins are going through now really proves that Tua Tagovailoa is not overrated because we see how bad Miami is without Tua. With Tyler Huntley, they are just maybe the worst team in the NFL. And I can't pick Miami right now. I know they're coming off a bye, but I cannot pick this Miami Dolphins team. They're just a mess. Until Tua comes back, they're going to lose every game. Give me Indianapolis to destroy the Miami Dolphins. Next up, we have another very, very, very interesting game. The Houston Texans taking on the Green Bay Packers. CJ Stroud versus Jordan Love. I believe this is their first ever matchup. The game is at Lambeau Field. Texans have been one of the best teams in the NFL. They are 5-1. They have a bunch of impressive wins so far this year. And the Packers, they've been through a lot of controversy this year, but they have been good. They're 4-2. Jordan Love is back in full force. They survived him being hurt with Malik Willis. Malik Willis was actually pretty solid for them. Like I said, this is a very interesting matchup. I'm going to pick Green Bay to win this game just because it's at Lambeau Field. Lambeau is probably the best home field advantage in the entire NFL. So I'm going to pick Green Bay over Houston just for the sheer fact it's in Green Bay. But this is going to be another amazing game. Texans-Packers, going to be a close game. But give me Green Bay in a nail-biter. Next game, you got the Seattle Seahawks, or the Seattle Sea Frauds, as I call them, because they are frauds, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. This game is in Atlanta. Atlanta is playing some really good ball right now. They are scoring, and they cannot be stopped. They are just scoring a million points a game, it seems. And the Seahawks, as I said, they are frauds. I knew it the second they started 3-0. This team is not that good. They're coming off a loss against the 49ers, in which, again, they fell to reality. This team is fraudulent. This game is in Atlanta. Atlanta has been one of the best teams in the NFL this year. Give me the Falcons absolutely destroying the Seahawks. No bias in this pick, but I'm taking Atlanta over Seattle. Atlanta's just the better team overall, and also they're home, so that's going to help as well. So Falcons defeat the Seahawks. Next game, Tennessee Titans taking on the Buffalo Bills. Titans suck. They have Will Levis as their quarterback. That's all I have to say. Give me Buffalo. If Buffalo loses to Tennessee, I don't even know. Give me the Bills to beat the Titans by 30. Next game we'll be going over. I think this is the start of the 4 o'clock one. That's a little bit out of order, it seems. But who cares? You got the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the LA Rams in LA. But this is going to pretty much be a Raider home game. And this is another very interesting matchup. It's not really a good matchup. It's not two good teams. It's two bad teams in my eyes. Raiders coming off a loss last week to the Steelers. Their quarterback room is the worst maybe I've seen in a bunch of years. Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. It's between a trash can and a garbage can. There's no difference. Neither of them are good. They started Aiden O'Connell last week. Aiden O'Connell wasn't that bad. It's just the Steelers using their BS to win, but Aiden O'Connell's not that good. And meanwhile, for the Rams, they're still injured to hell and back. They're coming off a bye week. That will help, but this Rams team is just injured. But I am going to pick the Rams to defeat the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Rams are a better team. Even if they're hurt, I think the Rams, just because they're at home, although it is going to be a lot of Raider fans there, are going to beat the Vegas Raiders. So give me the Rams to win this game, and the Rams will get their second win of the year. Second home games, actually the third home game, but their second win in 3 home games. Next game we'll be going over, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New York Football Giants. This is another game that's interesting to me. Eagles have been playing some very bad football. I mean, they won last week, but that was against a terrible Browns team, which we'll get into next. I mean, Deshaun Watson's bad, but this isn't about the Rams right now. Eagles did win that game. It was not a pretty win, but according to Nick Sirianni, it was enough of a win to heckle your own fan base. That guy is such a clown. He's got to go. I hate Nick Sirianni with a passion. And for the Giants, they're coming off a very ugly loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. Giants should have won that game, but stalling drives, a bad interception from Danny Derps. Giants just found a way to lose, which they seem to do a lot. I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. Eagles are just a better team. A.J. Brown is back. We saw it last week. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. Eagles just a better team overall. than the New York Giants. So give me Philly to beat New York on Sunday at MetLife Stadium. Next game we're going over, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns. Give me the Bengals. Browns, screw it. They're the worst team in the NFL right now. Deshaun Watson can't throw a football. They just traded Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. Everyone's injured. Nick Chubb is still out. Give me the Bengals to beat the Browns. If the Bengals lose to the Browns, they got to fire Zach Taylor. So give me Cincy to beat Cleveland in the Battle of Ohio. America's Game of the Week up next, and also a rematch of the Super Bowl, a rematch of my pain. The 49ers hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are coming off a bye week, and the Niners are coming off a mini bye week in which they played on Thursday against the Seattle Seahawks. And this game is, of course, the Super Bowl rematch. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm picking the Chiefs. I can't pick the Niners to beat the Chiefs. I mean, let's take a look at some matchups here. Let's take a look at the coaching matchups, first of all. Calling the plays on offense for the Chiefs, Andy Reid. Calling the plays on defense for the Niners, Nick Sorensen / Brandon Staley. Who has the advantage? Andy Reid or Nick Sorensen? Andy Reid's going to put Nick Sorensen in a blender and drink his defense like a smoothie. And then we look at the offensive side. Niners have Kyle Shanahan calling plays, and the Chiefs have Steve Spagnuolo. Shanahan's a good play caller, but Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators in the game, and he always seems to game plan very well against Kyle Shanahan and the Niners. So I had to give Spagnuolo the edge in that matchup. Quarterback room, Mahomes, Purdy's been awesome, but it's Patrick Mahomes. He's always going to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And again, I don't have any ounce of confidence to pick the Niners to win this game. If they win this game, that would be awesome. That would, in my opinion, change the trajectory of this season for San Francisco. If they lose this game, I think it's going to change. The season's going to keep going like this. They're not going to go that far. This is a huge game for the Niners, but I don't think they're going to get the job done. I can't bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, so give me the Kansas City Chiefs to win. Next game we got here, another 4 o'clock game. The Carolina Panthers taking on the 4-2 first place Washington Commanders. I never thought I'd be saying that. The first place Washington Commanders, unbelievable. They've been so good this year. Cliff Kingsbury's doing a great job as the offensive coordinator. So is Dan Quinn as the head coach. So, very a good football team in Washington. And obviously, the story over in Washington. The outstanding play so far in his NFL career of Jaden Daniels. I mean, he is a very high pass rating, barely throws any incompletions. Jaden Daniels has been incredible. Panthers quite the opposite. They had their first overall pick of last year, get benched in week 3 for Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton's been solid, but he's still Andy Dalton. And the Panthers still are not a good team, and the Commanders are a very good team. So give me Washington to beat Carolina and move to 5-2 on the season. Next up, we got Sunday Night Football between the New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jets made a big move coming into this week, picking up Davante Adams. And yes, that's right. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are back as a duo. That's the Jets, in my opinion, now have the best receiver room in football. I mean, Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson. This is such a good wide receiver room. And they're taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field, or it's called Acrisure now, but I still call it Heinz Field. And this is another interesting matchup. Pittsburgh coming off a win last week against Las Vegas, and the Jets coming off a heartbreaking loss on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. But this Jets team, obviously, they want to win. They just fired Robert Saleh, which I think Saleh was a scapegoat. But anyway, they're trying to win, like I said. They just traded for Davante Adams from the Raiders, one of the best receivers in the NFL. And we already know the chemistry him and Rodgers have. And Pittsburgh is just such a weird team. I mean, Justin Fields as their quarterback so far. The offense has never been good. I mean, I would say it's about the offense. They have Arthur Smith calling plays. That's all I have to say about Pittsburgh's offense so far this year, although it has been a little better than prior years. But this Steelers team, they're so lucky. And I think the New York Jets, especially with how aggressive they are right now trying to win, I think they're going to come into Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football and defeat the Steelers and get their season back on track. So we go to Monday Night Football. We got 2 Monday Night Football games this week. First game, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another very interesting matchup. And Baltimore has been such a dominant team this year. I mean, that run game especially. You got Derrick Henry as your running back, and you got Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. It's the best running game in the NFL by far. In Tampa, Baker Mayfield is balling out. I mean, they put up, I think last week, 54 against the New Orleans Saints. Unbelievable. Both these teams are playing very well right now. And you know what? I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Give me Tampa. They're at home. This is going to be a prime-time Monday Night Football game. Tampa Bay is going to be rocking. And I think the Bucs are going to get the job done, and they are going to shock the Baltimore Ravens and go to 5-2. So give me Tampa over Baltimore. And the final game of Week 7, the second Monday Night Football game, you got the LA Chargers going to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals, they had a very good start to the year. I mean, that game against the Rams was incredible with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison going off. But since then, it's kind of fallen off. But they did beat the Niners. But the Niners really lost that game themselves, I think. But they're taking on the LA Chargers. Chargers playing some solid football. They're coming off a win last week against the Broncos. Jim Harbaugh is doing a good job over there. And Justin Herbert's balling out, even though he has no wide receivers. And I am going to take the Chargers in this game to beat the Cardinals. I think they're a better team. I really like what Arizona's a very fun team. They're just not there yet. Their defense is absolutely atrocious. So I am going to take the Chargers to beat the Cardinals. And that will do it for this week. So to wrap it up, my picks for this week, I have the Saints beating the Broncos, the Jaguars beating the Patriots, Lions beating the Vikings, Colts beating the Dolphins, Packers beating the Texans, Falcons beating the Seahawks, Bills beating the Titans, Rams beating the Raiders, Eagles beating the Giants, Bengals beating the Browns, Chiefs beating the 49ers, Commanders beating the Panthers, Jets beating the Steelers, Buccaneers beating the Ravens, and the Chargers beating the Cardinals. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Hopefully we get another great week of football in Week 7. And peace.